Hello students, in today's lecture we will be discussing the very first phase of software engineering or the software development life cycle. Number one is preliminary investigation, and we'll be discussing the various things or the various goals and the various characteristics associated with it. To begin with, the principal guiding system development. Number one is the system is for the end user. Therefore, end users must be involved throughout the system development. The need for the system development has arisen from somewhere. So that somewhere has to be involved in the project throughout. Then to manage the system development process, it should be divided into different tasks. For example, there needs to be the tasks or the modules of that system needs to be identified. For example, if my system requires designing, if my system requires testing, it should be identified, and the users that will be doing that task should also be identified. Then the development of the system does not occur in a complete sequential manner. The individual phases or the individual tasks may actually overlap each other, and also the development team may have to backtrack from one phase to the previous to correct the newly identified problem. There could occur that after the designing phase, the coding occurs. So there might be problem with some designing thing. So one has to move from coding back to design so that the actual problem could be identified. Then the creation of information system should be treated as a capital investment. That means the investment done on these projects must be justified. Whatever the cost is being incurred in the development process should need to be identified, should need to be justified. Then during the development of system, checkpoints must be established to re-evaluate the feasibility study. For example, in designing phase, I am making the flowcharts. In designing phase, I am making the data flow diagrams. Then from designing, I am moving to coding. So from time to time, I can put checkpoints in order to check whether my system development is going smoothly or not, or if there is a backtracking required, or is there any other alternative required. Then next point is documentation is very essential. It is actually an important part of the systems development, and it should never be postponed or delayed. One module is complete there, and then the documentation should be done. The documentation should be actually in a very usually provided in a very usually friendly manner. Basically, it should be laid down so that any user who might not even have the knowledge how to use that module or use that system should be able to understand. Then last is, it is not necessary that an information system is created in response to a problem. For example, some business may be working in an appropriate manner, but there may be chances that an information system may speed up their performance or improve the performance. In general, most of the large organization, they opt for informational system in order to increase the efficiency, whereas the middle level or the normal organization, or we could say the small organizations, go for the information system in response to a new rule or a directive by a controlling body. For example, in India, in all over the world, the government has actually suggested or implied that we need to have online classes. The education system was never put to halt. In fact, the education system continued. Only the manner was changed that start using online classes. The example of such directive may be some additional reports in a particular format that are demanded for a business in every organization. There are surveys, there are taxes done, taxes reports done, Example of this is basically best is surveys in the form of Google Forms that are being generated in every organization in order to know whether the system is working in proper capacity or not. Then what are the basic goals of preliminary investigation? Number one is evaluate the end user impact. This means that the end users, in the first point discussed in principles of guiding system development, we said that end users are the actual users that are going to operate and get benefits from the proposed information system. That is why it is important to evaluate or to involve the end users right from the beginning of development of system. Some in this different types of users, there may be users that may not be computer qualified, right? There may be users that will be computer qualified. So all these users or all their deficiencies and efficiencies should be evaluated by the system analyst. And this system analyst himself must understand the level of understanding of these users and must involve them during the feasibility study. Basically, the overall the impact of implementing the information system on the users must be evaluated by the system analyst. Then evaluate the impact on business. Another important point that must be considered during the preliminary investigation is the impact of the information system, that is analyzing the system or the problem, fulfills the goal and the predefined objectives of both the business and the system that is under development. This information system must actually pertain to the policies of the business organization. It should be in the boundaries and the limits set by the organization. Then last is survey project scope. Basically the analysis and design of any information system project is always begin with the survey of the project scope. This survey phase is also called as the preliminary investigation that will determine whether the resources of the system should be committed to the software development life cycle or not. This survey phase will actually determine the will give a detailed information of the resources that will be employed in this system, and will they be able to be a part of software development cycle or not. The detailed scope of the project is defined in this phase. Now, what does this scope includes? It includes the end users at all the level of organization, the perceived problems and opportunities, the constraints related to the business and other technical constraints, the perceived project goals, and all the possible solutions to the problem. Then next step is study and analyze the current system. Basically, it is one of the most important steps in system development. The knowledge of the current system is must if we want to create a new system to replace the existing system. The important phase of studying and analyzing the current system will create a good base for the user-oriented new system. Basically, when the current system is analyzed, the software or the system analyst come to know what exactly the problem is in the current system and its level of seriousner. Basically, some minor problem that can cause major problems in the coming time. So in problems occurring in the system are analyzed. From that minor problems that can be bigger in future. So they are basically analyzed in this phase. The study of the existing system makes the user or makes the analyst able to understand the problems and the working of the existing system. Now moving further, knowing the reason. Why, what is behind this preliminary investigation? Number one is, what are the, in this slide, actually we are discussing the actual reasons why the company has requested an information system. So the reasons need to be known, right? Number one is solving a problem, that it is a possible that the company needs the information system to solve a particular problem that has existed throughout the inception of the company, and it seems that it will exist in the future to, unless that company takes the proper steps, right? For example, there is a company that is dealing with some excessive, you could say they are dealing with excessive data error during the billing process. There's a, suppose uh, there's a shop in Elante Mall or shop in any mall that they are having continuous problem of billing. So they need to have a system. Otherwise, there is a point that there might they might have huge losses. Suppose there is a person at the billing counter and he is careless about it, and the machine is already, or the system or the software is not working problem. So this can actually cause a lot of loss to the company itself. Then capitalizing on an opportunity. That means a company can request for an information system to expand this operation or to improve the efficiency of working, to have an edge over the competitors. For example, if a company is saying that if you buy a purchase of, if you purchase a goods of 1100, right, you were getting already a discount of you 10%. Now what they can do is, you are doing a purchase of 1100, they say you will get free goodies. That is what is meant by this. That is then responding order information in a particular format may also force the organization to request for an information system. The biggest example we have already discussed is that there may, the usage of online classes to such an extent is basically an order from the government itself. It was a step that was taken so that the entire education system should not come to a halt. Then there are 5 C's that serve as a reason for companies to go for a new information system. Number one is capability, second is communication, third is competitiveness, fourth is control, and fifth is cost. Now, what is meant by capability? Capability is that if only that this organization will move to a certain information system only if it knows that it has the capability to imbibe that system into its organization. Then communication is that this new system can opens the ground for more scope of their organization. They can benefit more from it. Competitiveness, since the market is growing and trending at a rapid rate, so in order to retain in the market, they need to have a new system. Then control, maybe the new information system that will be installed in the company will help them to control their operation of the organization in a better manner. Then cost, maybe the new system can help them to reduce the excessive costs that are being incurred by the already existing system. Then sources of project request. Why, from where does this project request occurs? Number one are the department managers. They generally have good knowledge of the problems in their department. They are basically people who are part of the problematic system, know the problem in a better way as compared to the people who are from the outside in the system. The department managers know the problem that are occurring in their departments on routine basis. They are the main sources of information system projects. Example, the department manager knows that whatever the technique they employs or the people in his people under his supervision, they are doing very infinite time, or we could say that they are not able to. Manager knows where the problem is, so he is the best source for the request, or you could say he's the best person to know why the new system is required. Second is senior executives. Senior executives of a company, they have the responsibility of a number of departments. These are the person that will have the most experience and broader sphere of thinking as compared to departmental managers. As the knowledge possessed by the senior executives is far more than these department managers, these senior managers often propose wider information system projects. For example, if I take a senior manager of a large publication house who knows that his company is already going to open 3 or more sales counters in 3 different cities, may think of reflecting the sales of 3 counters at the head office of the company. This way, the head office would be having latest information about status of extension countries. Now, we can see that from this and this example that the department manager can only think about his department, whereas the senior executive will have a broader mind and area of control. They will have a more knowledge about the department stores, or they will be having knowledge about all the departments that can be opened. Generally, the information systems proposed by senior managers are very costly in nature, but they put a wider impact in the organization. The example that I've discussed is that that in simple terms, that there is a company that wants to open 3 counters in different states. Now, whatsoever the departmental manager function would be, simply that he will be concentrating on his department, whereas senior executives will be concentrating on the entire organization. They will make sure that the 3 counters that will be set in different countries should thrive very nicely. They need to have the best benefits from these, best profits from those counters as well. Then come the system analyst. System is usually hired from outside, but the system analyst can also study the system intentionally or by chance and find the problems associated within the system. He or she may write system proposal, and or he or she may encourage the department manager for writing the proposal to define or design an information system to increase the efficiency of a system. For example is, right now I am working in an organization as a system analyst, and I am the one who is keeping an eye on all the departments. And if I say that some work they are doing on Excel spreadsheets, now I want that data can be handled in a better way if they use the database management system. So what I can do is I can tell my manager this is the problem, or I could give it in written that this is the problem and this is the best solution, so we can hire or we can get this system designed. This is the function of system analyst. And system analyst is basically concerned again of one department itself. Then come the government agencies. Government agencies of higher authorities can also be a source of project requests. These agencies actually become a source of each and every business or some selected basic business industries. Example of government agencies we can say is that the one which hire third parties to do their functioning. For example, even right now in India, all the system is actually being regulated by IT. Still, there are some offices that take the help of IT companies to maintain their websites. For simple maybe billing process or anything, they have given them the rights that they can work. So this is how government agencies want a new information system. Then stages of preliminary investigation. Number 1 is clarify the project request. So in this thing is is the first and the foremost thing is to actually clarify the request of the project. This basically means that what is going to be done and what is required. The question is what is going to be done and what is required. And the only drawback with this is that when we question the users, mostly they are not able to actually clarify their project request. So we need to analyze all the users of the system very nicely so that we could get a clear idea of what is actually required of the system. Then determine the project size. Now the analyst needs to determine the exact size of project they are going to actually develop. In general terms, they are going to see whether this new project has been created as a modification of the existing system, or it is created to be from the scratch or from the starting point. Also, one thing has to be noted that it is basically easy to start from the scratch than to modify an existing system. So this is also a big problem that occurs while determining the project size. Then determine the cost and benefit of alternative approach. There can be actually more than one approach to solve a particular problem. So the analyst must actually analyze the cost and benefits of all the alternatives. For example, we can take an example of publishing company, which is actually trying to automate their billing, production and storage system. So in this case, the analyst needs to evaluate the cost to create that system, cost to purchase new hardware, software for the new system, and cost to train the new system. Now this entire analyst needs to be done with the mind that what benefits will be having from the new system. So whatever we are doing, whatever analysis we are doing, we need to keep in mind that we are actually having a proper benefits from whatever we are using. So here it's a end to my lecture. I hope in learning new concepts. Thank you.